And now for an amazing true story from the book of Genesis.
God planted a beautiful garden for Adam and Eve. He placed them in charge of all the animals and everything that He created. He gave them flourishing fruit trees and all kinds of good things to eat. But God gave Adam and Eve one very important rule to follow.
You can eat the fruit of any tree in the garden, but you must not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you do, you will surely die.
Adam and Eve had planned to stay clear of the tree with all the forbidden fruit. After all, they had more than enough to eat without it. But there was a serpent that was in the garden with them, and he had different plans. The hissing voice caught Eve off guard, and she spun to see a serpent slithering along a nearby branch.
Was that you?
Now, the serpent was more clever than any animal that God had created.
Sure it was. Come now, did God really say you couldn't eat any of the fruit in the garden?
No. We can eat fruit from the trees, just not the tree in the middle of the garden. We can't even touch it, or God says we'll die.
So serious. You can be sure that you won't die. God knows that when you eat the fruit of the tree, you'll know things you've never known before. You'll be able to tell the difference between good and evil. You'll be like God.
And with the flick of his tongue and a twist of his tail, the serpent was gone. Eve shivered in the cool breeze, and she couldn't help herself from staring at the lovely fruit hanging from the tree in the middle of the garden. She walked slowly toward it.
It looks so good. And if it gives me knowledge, it can't be all bad. And if it will make me like God, sure. I mean, surely God won't notice if I just take one bite.
Eve glanced behind her quickly and then back at the fruit. And then she reached out her hand and snatched the fruit off the tree.
Just one bite. Oh my!
She took another bite, and then another, and then offered some to Adam, who was there with her.
Try this.
Well, there are lots more on the tree.
So Adam took the fruit and he ate it right down to the core. But the sweet taste had barely left their mouths before Adam and Eve became uneasy. New thoughts began trickling into their minds. For the first time ever, they knew what it was like to feel guilty and ashamed. And for the first time ever, they realized that they weren't wearing any clothes.
Adam, we didn't. We're not. We should cover ourselves up.
With what?
I don't know. I haven't got a thing to wear.
Quickly, Adam and Eve gathered large fig leaves and sewed clothes for themselves.
Eve, footsteps, quick, hide.
Behind that tree.
But God was walking in the garden, looking for them.
Adam, where are you?
Over here. We were afraid, so we hid. We were naked, so...
Who told you that? Did you eat the fruit I commanded you not to?
It was the woman you put here. Eve made me do it.
What have you done, Eve?
The serpent tricked me. That's why I ate it.
God's heart was saddened. Adam and Eve had broken his only rule, one meant to keep them safe. Adam and Eve had shattered their perfect friendship with God.
You must leave the garden. From now on, you will work hard for your food and face great pain. Someday you will die and become like the dust you were made from.
Adam and Eve were banished from the magnificent paradise, and they would never return again. When Adam and Eve broke God's rule, the world was broken. Sin came rushing in, and every human being born after would have sin inside of them. Everyone would be separated from God. And even though the world was broken, God still loved the people he had created. He was still writing his story, and it wasn't even close to finished yet.